required to provide time on this channel and make it available pursuant to franchise agreements with the communities we serve. Comcast is not affiliated with the following program or the producers of public access programming and is not responsible for the content. The following program does not reflect the opinions of Comcast or its affiliates.
Hello and welcome once again to the Tinley Park Chamber of Commerce cable TV show. My name is Joe Ficcaro. I am the host of the show. I past president of the Tinley Chamber, and I presently work with the Tinley Chamber of Commerce. As you know, we air on both Comcast and ATT on the community channels. To start off our program right now, I would like to talk just briefly about one of the biggest events that is held by the Chamber of Commerce, also one of the largest events that's held at the Convention Center in Tinley Park, and that is the Brew and Vine Festival. So I'd like to tell you just a little bit about the 2015 Brew and Vine Festival, which will be held Saturday, May 2nd at the Tinley Park Convention Center. And for those of you who like craft beers, and maybe fine wines, you'll find a really big and just a tasty selection there. There will be food tastings as well. All attendees will receive a commemorative tasting glass. And let me see, I've got some other notes here. You can buy your tickets in advance, and they are $28 pre-sale, $35 at the door. That includes your glass and 12 tastes. Again, there is entertainment, and in years past, people just loved it immensely and just danced the night away if they weren't sitting there just drinking and enjoying listening. That's probably all I can say. There'll be raffles, and bring your friends, your relatives. You may meet some old friends and make some new friends there. The other thing that, and if you'd like more information, go to the Chamber website, or you can go to Tinley Park Brew and Vine Festival.com, get all the information you want, and even though you can make online purchases as well. The other program I'd like to talk about, or event I should say, is an event. It's a very special event by the Crisis Center for South Suburbia, and it is their Heart-to-Heart Dinner Dance. It is a big fundraiser. I've attended it several times. It also is a lot of fun, a little bit more low-key than the Brew and Vine Festival, but it's a great, worthwhile event to attend in support of a great organization. Let me just read some of the things that is here. The Heart-to-Heart Dinner Dance will be held Saturday, February 21st at the Silver Lake Country Club. It's a very special event. There'll be silent and live auctions, raffles, live entertainment featuring Jimmy O and Rhonda Lee Duo, and a delicious dinner. Believe me, it is. I've often tried to get seconds, but everybody else finished their plate, so there was nothing I could do about that. It's the magical surroundings of Silver Lake Country Club, as it says here. And I should say the Heart to Heart is a celebration of the success that the Crisis Center for South Suburbia has enjoyed by assisting women and children who have been overcome by issues of domestic violence in their lives. For more information, please visit their website, crisisctr.org/events, to go directly to the Heart to Heart Dinner Dance. Again, that's Crisis, that's CRISISCTR.org/events. Thank you. Well, our first guest, and it's somebody who's visited us some time ago, and we're happy to have Allen Babiarz with us again.
Thank
Allen
you.
is the program manager from South Suburban College Women's Conference. And I'll rather than me telling you about it, I'm going to let Allen have the floor.
All right.
And we both agreed that he could probably take over the cable show and talk the rest of the night.
Well, I don't know about that, Joe, but thank you for having us back again. We really appreciate it, giving us an opportunity to promote our fantastic event and things that we have going on around South Suburban College. But like I said, my main focus of being here today is our 7th annual Women's Conference. I can't believe it's been 7 years that we've been putting this on for the community. It's such a great day, and I've been really proud to be with such a phenomenal event every year. Like I said, this is our 7th, so we've had a array of speakers throughout the years, including Dr. Cheryl Woodson was our keynote one year, Robin Kelly, who's now our congresswoman.
Sure.
We've had Monique Carradine, who is a radio and TV personality. Last year we had fitness expert Saran Dunmore, who was on MTV and NBC. We've had Sarah Kustok, the sports commentator. But this year I'm really, really excited. Our keynote speaker, her name is Gia Claire. And Gia comes to us. She's been a speaker for us in the past, but she's going to be our keynote this year. She is a hilarious, hilarious comedian and just a phenomenal speaker. One of our panel member, or sorry, not our panel members, but one of the people who helps put on the conference had lunch with her the other day, and she came back telling me how she couldn't stop laughing the whole 2 hours that they were at lunch. So I'm really excited to have it. We've never really had somebody focus on women's empowerment in comedy before. So this is really, really exciting for us. During the day, we have about 15, 18 different breakout sessions within our 3 sessions that we have. One of them is a Passions to Profit panel, which is always a big hit.
Passions to Profit?
Passions to Profits, where these women take what they love and turn it into a business. In the past, we've had people who's made bakeries and people who have opened their own restaurants. So I'm really excited to see what our speaker committees has brought together this year. Also brand new for 2015, we're going to have an organization panel. How to declutter your life, how to declutter your home, not only emotionally, but physically getting rid of that junk that's just been sitting in your closet for years. And then we're going to end our day. We always end our day with a health panel, but this year, like I said, this is our 7th year, so we had to spice it up.
Okay.
We're ending with a girl talk panel, which is going to be something similar to The View, if you can picture it. You know, you have Whoopi and Rosie and all of them sitting up there just chit-chatting and talking. We're going to have that. So we're going to have a lot of women from the community and that are special to us, especially one of our vice presidents, Dr. Lynette Stoke-Wilson, is going to be on the panel talking about it, and different community members. And they're going to be interactive with the audience and interactive with all of our other panel members.
No, is Gia Claire going to be on that panel?
Gia Claire is not going to be on that panel, but she will be there all day.
She will. I was going to say it'd be hilarious panel.
You know, it would be, and
Yeah.
I'll go back and suggest it. Maybe she can stick around for the end. That would be great.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to get up and just let you keep on going, but you're certainly welcome to. But what I would like to ask is, Allen, I ask all guests, and it would be wrong of me not to ask you a personal question.
Sure.
And that is, how did you happen to get into the type of work that you're doing as a program manager? But maybe tell us a little bit about your background, how you led up to this.
You know, the joke behind my career is I grew up at South Suburban College, which I really have. You know, my aunts worked there for over 30 years.
Okay.
And I started there as a student worker when I was 15 years old. So I'd been working at South Suburban since then, and I went up through student worker, and then part-time person, and then full-time person, and then finally as my position as client solutions and project manager. And I took on the role of the women's conference about 3 years ago now, coordinating and heading the whole thing. Before that, we had another lady who did a phenomenal job and still works with us. So I couldn't be happier to. Actually, I couldn't replace her. I couldn't fill her shoes because she's just that wonderful. But so I've been doing this, like I said, about 3 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, had a great time.
That's not terribly long. But
No.
as you said, you grew up at the college.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like I said, I've been there 15 years now.
Okay.
Since I was 15 years old.
You must have been doing something right as a student.
Yeah.
Or as a young worker, and then they've asked you to.
Well, South Suburban College is a phenomenal place. It's a great gemstone here in the south suburbs. We have a lot of different, just different things that the community and business and industry and everybody can take advantage of, between seniors being able to take classes tuition free, businesses being able to train their employees. We can go out to your site and do customized training to your business. Anything.
I didn't know that. That's great.
You name it, we can come up with the curriculum and do it for you. That's the department that I work in right now, is the customized training department. And it's just such a phenomenal gemstone, like I said, that here the Tinley Park community can take advantage of.
What are some of the trainings that you've done off-site or on-site at some business?
We've done a lot of computer training, so Microsoft Office, Adobe training, a lot of customer service training. If you're having some dysfunctions in your team, we can do teamwork and communication skills training. We've also done healthcare training, manufacturing training. Like I said, Joe, you name it, we can come up with a curriculum.
So when you do that, are you utilizing, let's say, the knowledge and the skills of teachers in those particular categories?
Absolutely. We have a phenomenal staff of educators that we've used for many, many years, and a lot of brand new ones also that have a very certain skill set that we can bring out into the business and industry development.
Great, and they've got to be gratified to have their, as they say, share their knowledge and skills in that fashion as well. If I might ask you, how many teachers are at South Suburban College?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know off the top of my head, but we have a phenomenal full-time faculty, and then our adjuncts are just as well, and not trying to toot my own horn, because I do teach adjunct there as well. I teach a speech class.
Okay.
But our adjuncts are just as great as our full-time faculty, if not better. If not better.
No bias there.
None, no bias
Well
whatsoever.
spoken, though, as a speech teacher.
Yes.
Yes. Well, are there some of the other curriculums that you would like to talk about? Because I'm sure it's varied.
Yeah.
And our audience is also varied.
Yeah. We have a great brand new, I'm talking brand new, you can still smell the paint, welding lab that just opened
Welding lab.
in the fall. Yes.
So that's vocational?
It is. We have 8 welding stations. It was paid for by a grant, the INAM grant from the state. And it's a beautiful, beautiful state-of-the-art facility that students can come in, learn the different types of welding trades, and get out there and work. So it is a credit certificate program. So you do get the college credit behind it, as well as the skills to get out there for you.
Very good.
We also are starting a industrial maintenance program where you can learn how to go into the big industrious kind of mechanical places and learn how to go in and do maintenance on all their machines. So that's 2 brand new programs that we're really excited about.
Wait, you say industrial maintenance?
Yes.
So does that include, let's say, electrical and things of that
A little
nature?
bit, yeah.
Okay.
Going into and being able to troubleshoot and repair big equipment.
Now, IT is really big.
Absolutely.
All right, and you said that you did some on-site training for that as well. Does that include any training with social media, what have you?
You're talking to the social media king right here.
Okay.
I do all the social media training and marketing plans for that we sell out to the companies for the business and industry department. And one big part of IT, though, that you were talking about is the A+ networking, learning how to build networks and fix computers and all that kind of stuff. And we offer that as well. And the certification exams, which they offer at the Business and Career Institute.
Well, Alan, we have a couple of minutes left in this segment, so I'm going to continue to let you have the floor and talk about the things that you want.
Yeah.
If you want to elaborate on the Women's Conference,
I
please
would.
do.
I'd like to talk. I'd like to invite everybody in the community out to join us, please. And I'll put this out there, it's not just for women. Gentlemen can enjoy it too. Trust me, it's a phenomenal day. It starts at about 7:30 with networking and registration, and it ends at about 3:30. It includes a breakfast and a lunch for the low price of $15. Pre-registration is $15, and at the door is $25. So even $25, you can't beat that.
Really?
Where are you going to go get a lunch and a breakfast for $25?
And for the guys to be around all those
there you
women,
go. There you go. We can play matchmaker a little bit. But there are over 60 vendors that are going to be there. So please come out and join us.
Well, give a phone number and maybe a website.
Sure. Our website is thechicagowomensconference.com, and our phone number is 708-596-2000, extension 2455.
Alan, thank you once again for being a guest on our show.
Thank you for having us,
It's always
Joe.
a pleasure. And it was just chock full of information. And as you heard from Alan, the Women's Conference is held on, where do we have it? March 13th. That's Friday, March 13th at South Suburban College in South Holland.
Yes.
So it sounds like a great cause. $15 in advance,
Yes.
$25 at the door. A great bargain.
Please join us.
Held April 11, 2015 at the Tinley Park Convention Center, 183rd and Harlem from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Southland's finest community expo is free to the public and allows the visitors to view exhibits from local businesses, professionals, nonprofits, churches, fraternal groups, and local government. Looking for a doctor, a bank, a real estate professional, or someone to fix your windows? You can find all these and more while enjoying the entertainment and food samples from local restaurants. It's a family event with face painting, balloons, and inflatables for the children, so mark your calendars now. If you wish to participate in Discover Tinley, you can download an application at www.tinleypark.org or call 708-444-5444. We hope to see you there April 11th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Well, our next guest is Garrett Gray, who is a project engineer with SEECO Consultants, Inc., which is an engineering company right here in Tinley Park since 1988. That's long-standing.
Very much so, yes.
Welcome to our show, Garrett. And I've seen you on the other side of the camera often enough. It's nice to see you here in a guest seat. And we've talked for a little while, and Garrett is pretty interesting. He's got some stuff that I think you're going to like to hear. But Garrett, tell me a little bit about your company, and then we'll just meander around a little bit.
Absolutely, Joe. Thanks for having me here today. SEECO Consultants is an engineering firm started by my father, Bill Gray, over 50 years ago. Mm-hmm. And we reside in Tinley Park. We have since 1988, so as you mentioned, like a long time. Yeah. And I've worked for my father for 25 of those years. And now your audience is going, this guy looks incredible for being age 60. But no, I started when I was 15. So it adds up to, well, we won't say, but I worked for him for a long time. And we've serviced the local community here as well as the greater Chicago area and adjacent states.
All right. Well, I mean, I wasn't laughing at what you were saying, but because some of the people behind the camera were making me laugh a little bit too. But you know what? I know we've got a lot of information to cover, so we won't belabor that. I'm interested. What does SEECO stand for?
Good question, Joe. SEECO stands for Soil Engineering and Exploration Company. And what our primary purpose is as an engineering firm is to test the soils that the pavement sits on, the house sits on, retaining walls. What I tell people is anything that touches the earth, you call me, I'm your expert for that. And so anything from roads, houses, i.e. the foundations, and retaining walls. Now, I once had somebody say, well, what about my roof? And I said, listen, if your roof is touching the earth, you have bigger problems than I can handle.
They should have called you a long time ago.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But so we service the community on soil testing, and the main basis behind there is, you've all heard of the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Sure.
And it leans in Italy, and it's not supposed to. And I tell people, FYI, buildings are not supposed to lean. And we don't want the Leaning Tower of Tinley Park, Orland Park, or Chicago. So our job as soils engineers is to make sure that that ground, that soil that Mother Nature put there, can hold up the loads you're imposing on those,
Sure.
as well as not settle out so that you get a lean.
Although I'm sure the people in Pisa are glad that it's a tourist attraction.
Absolutely, and so much that they actually have, the tower was going to keep going and going until it fell over. They preserved the lean with some underpinning so that they didn't lose their tourism.
Yeah.
So very good. Yeah.
Very good. They must have called in a company like SEECO.
Absolutely. They're not in our district, so to speak. We weren't going to spend the cash to go over to Europe for that.
It could have been a paid vacation.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I would welcome that.
Well, you've already indicated that SEECO has been around since, well, 1988 in Tinley Park. Did it exist prior to that?
Yes, in Orland Park.
Okay.
And we relocated in 1988.
Okay.
And we're very happy with the relocation. And I've worked at that spot for, as I said, since I was 15.
Yeah. So what's it like working with family?
Well, Joe, I always say if you can work for family, you can work anywhere. And it has its pluses and minuses. My father is an expert. He's a structural engineer licensed in the state of Illinois and a professional engineer licensed in the state of Illinois. Mm-hmm. I'm also a professional engineer licensed in the state of Illinois. And what's great about it is that whenever you have a problem, whether it's on a Sunday or at Christmas or at Easter, you can talk about different problems and solving. Because engineering is all about solving problems. And because you deal with soils, Mother Nature is not exact. I always tell people, not all trees in the state of Illinois have 50 branches, and not all soil where you're sitting and where I'm sitting, underneath the building foundation, is the same.
Sure.
And so that's why you have to test it and characterize it and determine its capabilities. But also, the downside is you're also talking about work on that Easter, on that Christmas, and Thanksgiving. But it's been more of a blessing than a problem. And so I really, really cherish that. I also work with two of my brothers. Mm-hmm. So it's a family affair all around.
All right.
And my mother is wise enough to stay out of it. So
she is.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we've talked about a lot of different aspects of SEECO engineering, but what type of engineering does your company specialize in?
The soils part, the geotech, and like I said, that's a fancy smancy way of saying soils. And I like to tell people I'm a soils doctor. And if there's an issue with the earth, we'll come out, we'll investigate. But we also do other subsidiaries such as environmental engineering. The soil gets contaminated, the groundwater gets contaminated. If you're going to build on an empty plot of land or even redevelop an existing site, you want to test those soils out to make sure that they won't be more expensive in the long run. See what you have. Is it going to have regular shallow foundations for the structure you're going to build, or is it going to require something a little bit more novel and more expensive because there's poor soils like peat or organics that will settle and give you that Leaning Tower of Pisa that nobody wants. In addition, the environmental aspect is big because that will also cost a pretty penny to mitigate the site or remediate the site. So we do that. We also do some structural and some general civil. But our primary focus is the geotech engineering, the environmental, and materials testing. On job sites, when there's buildings being constructed, we're kind of cradle to grave. We'll test the soils on an empty plot of land. We'll test the soils, come back, write a report giving our recommendations, and then when they actually go and build the structure, we'll be there to test the concrete, the asphalt parking lots, the steel rebar that they put in, even wood, the insulation. So we're a full service company, and we're fully accredited by AMRL, which is a testing service company, and we're very we're very prideful of our product of work.
Well, you've been around a long time. You should be. So I have to ask you, how do you test soil?
That's a good question, Joe. We use what's called a drill rig. And a drill rig, if you saw it, you would just think it's a longer sized truck. But on the back of the drill rig, we have, for lack of a better term, an oversized corkscrew that we twist into the ground. Now this corkscrew is hollow in the middle, and it's called a hollow stem auger. So the term is auger for this corkscrew. And what we do is we drill into the ground in increments, and then we put another sampler inside that hollow stem, and we drop a 140-pound hammer on top of it. And the reason we do that is it's a gauge of the resistance of the soil. It's all calibrated, and so we collect our soil samples through this methodology where we drill a little bit with the corkscrew, then we pound the sample, and then we extract the sample, we classify it in the field, we reclassify it in the lab, take moisture contents, we do tests to determine the strength of the soil, and then, as I said, we'll write a report. And now sometimes there's more robust tests involved, depending on the nature of the project. And we've been around for a while, and we enjoy, and I personally enjoy, getting my hands dirty with the soil. I think that's my natural element, my wife would probably say, is getting dirty and not staying clean, but I do enjoy it, and I enjoy making, building things that last.
It sounds like it, yes. Now, you mentioned, what was it I was going to ask you? I mean, what you were saying was so interesting, I kind of like forgot exactly what I was going to ask you, but as far as the testing of the soil, and I was going to say, now, soil isn't always just static. It's sometimes it's moving, or...
Yeah, we wouldn't recommend to build on soil that's moving because you'll lose your foundation pretty quickly. Now, they do have some barrier reefs out on the Jersey Shore that move, and people buy these high-rise places, but that moves. But generally speaking, I would say out here you're fine. Nothing's moving. We're landlocked. And
all right.
Your biggest problem would be if it's really soft and would settle on you and can't hold the weight. I always give an analogy that, you know, if in terms of the ground holding the weight of the structure you're going to put on it, if I had Hulk Hogan here, you know, big, strong guy, hold a 50-pound bag of rock salt over his head, he can hold that, no problem. Now, if I gave that 50-pound bag to a 2-year-old kid with his hands up, he'd crumple underneath it. So you must have the soil be able to hold the load you're
all right, Garrett, we have a minute left in our segment, and I'd like, if you've got some last advice for our audience, and then tell us what's the most important things that an engineer needs to be able to do.
Sure, no problem, Joe. First off, if you're going to build your dream house on an empty plot of land, get those soil borings, that soil tested, that report, to make sure your dream house doesn't become a nightmare. And last, for any engineer, I'll say this, and I speak at Andrew High School and some other schools to educate the kids, is physics is good and math is necessary for engineering, but communication is absolutely key. You can be the smartest engineer, the most creative, the hardest working, but if you can't communicate your ideas effectively, you'll fail to make a sale.
Very good. Garrett, thank you very much for being a guest on our show. It was very interesting. And we should probably get you on the show again.
Thank you.
Claire.
Yeah, I got a little too long-winded there.
Well,